and she just shared how there tends to be a confidence gap when it comes to women investing in themselves. So many questions or what ifs that they ask, that's not there when it comes to men. And you guys know last year, Sheryl Sandberg's book Lean In made a lot of waves when she talked about how women need to learn to lean in, and how men typically will have no problem investing in themselves, or no problem even applying for a job, even if they don't feel they have all the qualifications. Whereas women, we feel like we have to have everything, 100% of the qualifications, everything in place. It has to be the right timing, all of that before we even go for it. And so I want to challenge some of that today. I want to discuss, again, the things that keep us from investing in ourselves, and how we can just really build that confidence in ourselves, get rid of that confidence gap, and go after what we deserve, and start really leaning into the life that we deserve. So one of the reasons that people tend to resisting or investing in themselves, again, specifically women I'm talking about, is the need. They feel the need that they have to check with someone else. Now, this is very common. I see it in my practice all the time. Before a person decides to grow, almost they feel like they have to have permission from others to go after whatever it is they want to go after, permission, validation, or even participation. So if you've ever found yourself feeling like you need to get the okay from someone, be it your spouse, be it your family, or the validation, we see a lot of this on social media as well. People who will share what it is they want to do in an effort to get some validation from other folks and say, go for it. I know immediately when a person comes to me if that person's serious about going after what they believe in or not, because this person will not hesitate to do it even if the odds are stacked against them. So if you're feeling that you need permission, validation, or even participation to go after what you want, to invest in yourself, then you really need to reevaluate that. And I want to share this with you guys, and I see hearts coming because you guys can, I'm sure, relate to that. I ran a 5K on Thanksgiving Day, the Detroit annual turkey trot. It was the 43rd annual turkey trot this year. And I ran into an old high school friend who was there, and it was her first time running. And she shared, just some of her apprehension, but she was there. And she also shared she started not to do it because she had spent several months before asking people to join with her and to run with her. And lots of people told her they would do it. And when it came down to a race time, a week before, everyone dropped out. And she actually considered not doing it herself, but then said, you know what, I'm going to do this for myself. So this is another example of not having to have the participation. Be careful about feeling you need to have just this participation or this group of people who can validate what you're doing. I can even remember going for my PhD program, and I had a couple friends, and we went through the master's program together, and when it came time to go for the doctorate, we all had a pact that we were going to all do it together, and we can help each other, and we can go through it together. And slowly but surely, the other individuals started coming up with reasons, it's not the right time, which is one of the reasons I'll give later, or let's wait another year or two. And I made the decision that I wasn't going to wait. I was going to do it, and I was going to start it on my own and go for it. And many years later, this is like 16, 17 years later, after starting that program, a lot of those individuals who we wanted to do this all together still have not achieved that accomplishment for themselves, and it's not to knock anybody, but it goes back to, you got to be willing to do the things that you want to do without having people there to root you on, or to validate it, or to participate, or even give you permission to do it. So get rid of that need to check with someone else. Another reason people tend not to invest in themselves, they're not sure it's the right time. 2015 came and went. This is December 1st. This is the last month of the year, okay? So 2016 will come and go as well. There's no such thing as the right time. There's no such thing as the right time. You can be debating all year long on when is the right time to do it. One of my favorite saying is that What a difference a year makes. What a difference a year makes. Because a year from now, December 1st, 2016, your life could look radically different than what it looks like today. I mean, radically different. You could be living somewhere else. You could have, a relationship that you didn't have before. You could have just all of your dreams that you thought would become later on down the line manifest itself. But it all depends on you. It all depends on you and you not waiting for the right time, because guess what? These 12 months from now are going to happen with or without you. So you can be 12 months into your goal, again, with a life that looks radically different than it does now. Or you can be someone on December 1st, 2016 saying, it's still not the right time. So stop making those excuses. Again, this is what separates people who are out there doing it, really knocking walls down and achieving their dreams, from those who are waiting for that right time to come. They know there's no such thing. And I'll tell you this, people always say, well, how do you do it all, with the children, with the work, with the business, with the family, all of that stuff. When you have a goal for yourself, the universe will make time for you. It will. I'm not kidding. It will expand. Time will expand. You will find time that you never thought you had, but you have to believe in yourself. If you continually tell yourself you don't have the time, guess what? You won't have the time. It won't be there. So stop telling yourself, stop feeding yourself that message, because it's contradictory to what it is that you're wanting to achieve in your life. Another reason is that people are not clear about the return on their investment. I hear this all the time. Like, people want to have a guarantee. Well, if I'm going to go for this business, I want a guarantee that it's going to be successful. The problem with that is that people are looking for their guarantees outside themselves. Like, they're looking for, to know that the customers will be there. I hear this so much from women who especially have started businesses, and they'll say, no one's there to support me, or nobody's coming, or what if this doesn't happen, and they don't want to put that time or investment in because they don't know if they'll get the return on it. Again, you have to give up that, because you can't be looking externally for that guarantee. You have to know within yourself that you're going to do everything possible to make it a success. I've had people in the past who will tell me how they want to really go after whatever that dream is. And I'll just use, I remember a lady a few months ago telling me she wanted to go and finish up her law degree. And this is something she was really passionate about. She saw herself, living elsewhere in the world with this particular law degree that would allow her that opportunity to do that. But her biggest hang up was she didn't want to take out the student loans, and she didn't have money to pay for it. And so I, challenged her on that. I said, well, if you're taking out the student loans, you're taking it out as an investment, because you will have this career, you'd have this degree and this career behind you that will afford you the opportunity to pay that back. But the whole ideal of having this big student loan over her head, she said she just couldn't do it. So she was foregoing her dream because she didn't want to invest in herself. Now, I'll tell you guys this, I got my PhD on student loans, and I still owe student loans back. But I'll tell people, if you have $80, $90, $100,000 in student loans and you're making six figures, I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. If you are making six figures, you're making more than what your student loans are, then it's not going to be an issue. And I see Odell says, yes, you have to invest in yourself. It's so true. And I'm just so amazed all the time at the people who really knock themselves out of the running of life because they feel that they can't invest in themselves, and women especially. They'll say, will this be a mistake? Will me going for this, whatever it is, the business or the degree or whatever it is they're trying to achieve, will it be a mistake? One way to counteract that fear is to tell yourself there's no such things as mistakes in life. I've invested in companies. I've invested in opportunities that all didn't pan out. But guess what I learned? I learned some valuable lessons. I learned what to do, what not to do. So I don't see any of that as a mistake. I see that as I paid to learn some valuable lessons that's going to help me be successful at the next venture. And so we have to just change our mindset when it comes to that and when it comes to investment. Think about the amount of money that's invested in our community in so many things that have no return. And some of you guys in the Detroit area, and I know it made like it was trending and on social media, where there's actually a weave shop where you can go and get your weave on loan. And they say women spend on average about $20,000 or more. That's probably a small number on just beauty products, and that's not including everything. That's just makeup, and we can go on and on with the billions of dollars that is spent on investments that really don't give us the return that's going to lead to a successful life. Now, I'm all about making yourself look good, so don't get that twisted at all. But my thing is that we have to put as much emphasis on building ourselves for something that's going to have staying power, investing in those things, as we do in investing in those short-lived pleasures as well. Another reason is they're scared that they'll actually achieve more success. Fear of failure. It does exist. Fear of failure exists. And so people will actually hold themselves back from growth in so many ways. And I see those hearts coming because you guys know you can relate to this. From distracting themselves with menial activities, doing too much for others, and then that can be their excuse of why they can't do this, the children or the family, or, people need me or what have you. You will find the time. You will find the time for people who are truly committed and dedicated to going to that next level. There's no such thing as not being able to figure out how it's going to be done. Like I said, once you make that commitment, the universe will open up for you and it will happen. But be careful about sabotaging your own development because of fear. Be careful of that. Or feeling like you actually may become successful, because let's be honest, when you are successful, when things do start working out, when your business starts taking off, it's going to require more from you. It's going to require more from you. And for some people, that can be quite scary. But I'll tell you this, as someone who's a business owner and has worked pretty much for herself as a contractor for most of my adult life, honestly, there's nothing that feels better than being able to kind of just be the captain of your own ship. Is it more responsibility? Yes. Is it more? But it's so worth it. The investment is so worth it, and it's necessary if you're going to go after that. And the last thing that people do is they feel guilt and fear that the money or time that they're investing in themselves should be used for their family or others. They feel guilt and fear that they should be investing that money or time in others. Women, we're givers, we're nurturers. So many women have shared guilt, shame, and worry that, the amount of money that she may be spending in her self-development or in her, higher education should be going toward the family or children. My thing is, if basic needs are met, you have to understand that this is an investment that not only is going to help you, it's going to help your family as well. And you're going to serve as an example. You're going to serve as an example to your family and to others. You'll be surprised at who's watching you. Not just your children, but other people watching you do that and giving them the courage to go ahead and do it as well. So 5 considerations. These are 5 considerations that I want to give you to motivate you to take the plunge and invest in yourself. I want you to really, take these considerations to heart, because it's time. 2016 is just weeks away, and it is so time for you to really take this plunge. And those of you who, again, follow me on social media, you know that I'm doing an informational seminar in a couple of weeks on just really, going to that next level, new year, next level you. And for those of you interested in joining me on this journey in 2016 to take it to the next level, please, by all means, go on the page and get the information about that. But 5 considerations I want you to take. to make the investment in yourself, I want you to F the fear. Yeah, you heard me right. F the fear and get rid of the guilt. Get rid of the guilt. Fear has two meanings. Fear has two meanings. One is forget everything and run. Forget everything and run, fear. Or face everything and rise. The choice is yours. The choice is yours. Which one you're going to choose. You're going to run. You're going to let that fear just really direct you in life. Then, you're not going to really go too far. Or you're going to rise. You're going to face that fear. It's amazing how less fearful things become when we face them. It's amazing how our fears disappear when we actually face them and how we start to rise after that point. So F the fear and get rid of the guilt. And guilt is to the spirit what pain is to the body, I once read. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. If you are really consumed with guilt, it's just going to continue to consume you and not allow you to move forward in life. Another consideration is understand that what you invest your time in defines who you are and where you will be in the future. So what you are doing today, even investing your time this morning in Transformation Tuesday to get this information, defines where you'll be in the future. What you do the rest of the day, what you do the rest of the week. So be very just conscious of that and understand where you're spending your time, who you're spending your time with, because it's all an investment. And since this is another consideration, since we, especially as women, are so other focused, understand that investing in yourself will not only improve your life, but the lives of those most important to you, your family, your children. So don't get so hung up on it being selfish. There's nothing selfish about investing in yourself. That's self-love there. And be picky with whom you invest your time in. Wasted time is worse than wasted money. Seriously, time, money is fluid. Money is recyclable. I say this all the time. Money comes in and flows in and out. Time is not recyclable. Lost time is lost time. And like I said, what a difference a year makes. So in these next 12 months between now, December 1st, 2015 and December 1st, 2016, you have a choice. You have a choice to really make use of that time. So, I can, again, go back, remember after I got my master's degree, or I should say my bachelor's degree, and deciding to go ahead and pursue and go ahead and through with the doctorate. And, at the age when I graduated from college, at the age of 22, 23, I remember thinking, oh my God, this is going to be another 6 years of schooling. But then I thought to myself, I said, 6 years from now, I could either be a 29-year-old with a doctorate degree, or I can be a 29-year-old talking about going to get her doctorate degree. And those 6 years, they went past regardless. Didn't matter. If I went to school or didn't go to school, those 6 years were going to pass. But I was able to, at the age of 29, walk across that stage with my doctorate degree. And now, many, many years later, have so many years of experience under my belt. And I credit people at any age, because I have friends and colleagues now who are deciding, I'm going back, I'm doing this. And that's great because guess what? The years are going to pass regardless. So you might as well make the most of it. And lastly, don't get lost in what if it's not the right time. Don't get lost in those mind games that you play with yourself. Because would've, should've, and could've should never be the thoughts that hunt you for the rest of your life. And so many people are hunted with the woulda, should've, could've. Don't let them hunt you, nor should you pacify yourself, because that's what you're doing. You're pacifying yourself with the delusion of you're going to get around to it someday. How many people who'll say that? Oh, I'm going to get around to it someday. I'm going to get there. That's just pacifying yourself, because someday is today. It's now. Just do it. So, in closing, the bad news is that time flies, but the good news is that you're the pilot. So I want to encourage all of you guys to get out there, pilot. It's time to pilot this destiny for yourself, pilot your plane, and just take it to new heights, because 2016 is going to be a new year and it's going to be a next level you. Live your life in full bloom. Get out there and enjoy your day and give these thoughts these considerations some thoughts. It's time. It's time for you to get out there and just start living the life you deserve. Goodbye, everyone.